So recently this was brought to my attention, though whoever mentioned it that triggered it did not intend to do that. Sorry, sir. But after the ending of Red Dead Redemption 2, we have a rough idea of what happened to all of the gang members barring one. If you can't remember, I'm about to go through a quick verbal recap, so here we go. Davey and Matt Callender and Jenny died right at the start, so they don't count. Two of which we never get to meet, and the other one we only see their body, really. Sean Maguire dies in Chapter 3, courtesy of a bullet to the head. Lenny Summers, Kieran Duffy, and Hosea Matthews die in Chapter 4. Susan Grimshaw and Molly O'Shea die in Chapter 6. Arthur Morgan dies at the end of Chapter 6. Charles Smith, Sadie Adler, John and Jack Marston, Abigail Roberts and Uncle survive into the epilogue and beyond. Micah survives and forms his own gang, eventually teaming back up with Dutch Vanderlind, where he's killed partially by Dutch and partially by John. Mary Beth Gaskill becomes an author, and Tilly Jackson winds up living in Saint Denis, married to a lawyer where she mothers a child, donning her married surname of Pierre. Simon Pearson settles down in Rhodes, running the general store. Josiah Trelawney returned to his family in Saint Denis, leaving the gang on good terms with Arthur. He is not the strange man, please don't even bother going there. Dutch Vanderlind, Bill Williamson and Javier Rasuela survive, Bill setting up his own gang and Javier eventually becoming a hitman for Colonel Alonde back in Mexico. Dutch remains rather elusive, only resurfacing in 1907 despite being speculated dead the year before, and again in 1911 where we see his story come to an end. Reverend Orville Swanson went on to lead a large congregation in New York by 1907. I'm sure gingers see it as a massive insult that their very own Einstein still believes in God. Leopold Strauss winds up being picked up by Pinkerton agents who tortured him for information, resulting in Strauss dying in custody without saying a word. Even Kane, a stray dog that becomes attached to the gang, gets a bit of closure. In Chapter 6, Kane goes missing, in which an interaction between Jack Marston, Arthur Morgan and Micah Bell suggests that Micah killed him. But of all the gang members, only one does not really see any form of closure provided by Rockstar, and that character is of course Karen Jones. The game ends without properly addressing what happened to Karen, but there is a little bit of info there that can make us speculate a bit about what might have happened. At the start of the game, we're introduced to Karen as a bold outlaw who employs her acting ability in various robberies and scams. And to say that she enjoys drinking a bit more than one should would probably be putting it lightly.
We can't support a drunk, miss. Oh, go scratch your sores, you old bag. Excuse me? You heard. Drunk or sober, you watch your mouth.
Also, what the fuck is this thread that I found while researching this video? Yes, I research before I do videos. You wouldn't think it was some of the fundamentally retarded shit I come out with. But of course, just like the rest of the characters, Karen does see some progression. We see her mental state decline over the course of the game. She goes from an intelligent, functional member of the gang that players can optionally consult as a moral compass, basically placed to remind you that you shouldn't be killing things just because.
Been out a lot.
Sure.
Anything fun?
I've been bad. I've been killing animals just for the hell of it.
That's it.
Well, also killed a bunch of innocent folk. I don't know why.
What's wrong with you, Arthur?
I just get so angry about everything, about how this is gonna end.
Well, it'll only end well if you keep your mind, Arthur. We need you.
To a less functional drunk that takes her anger out on anyone who shows concern for her.
You think I wanted to shoot her? You seem to like it. I saw that speedy look in your eye. You're drunk again, and you're a fucking murderer. She broke the rules. She did no such thing. She was in love. You sour-faced old crow. Goddamn you, murderer!
Well,
Arthur also personally makes note of just how bad Karen's getting.
she's in a bad way. She don't know what she's saying.
And of course her visual appearance becomes more and more unkempt as the game progresses, and you'll find her drunk more and more often.
Good Arthur. Big, tough Arthur. I don't know. I had something to say.
Take it easy, Karen. On the hooch.
Why? Because a good, sober life will bring me peace and contentment? What a crock of shit this world is.
So you can see that her alcoholic lifestyle is causing her mental state to degrade. So I'd imagine we're all thinking the exact same thing when it comes to what happened to Karen after the gang, the only thing that was really keeping her together. But what's weird is it's not really directly referenced, we don't see it, we don't hear about it, we don't have any evidence to suggest what happened to her. Of all the characters, this is the only one where we know nothing about what happened to her or what became of her at the end of chapter 6 or after it. I think we can all agree she's not mentally fit to look after herself, so seemingly dropping off the face of the earth is not a good sign. This was not an oversight in the writing either, this was by design. As in a letter addressed to John and Abigail from Tilly after you run into her in Saint Denis, she mentions Karen. This is what she has to say. In spite of my happy life and my immense good fortune, a part of me misses the old days something rotten. Silly old Miss Grimshaw and angry Mr. Pearson and kindly Hosea who was like a father to me. And you both and poor dear Arthur and all them bastards. And Karen, who was a sister to me and who I miss every day. I never heard what happened to her, but deep down, I know the drink did for her. So, Tilly theorises that Karen drank herself to death, which based on what we've seen of her, seems highly possible and outright plausible, as over the course of the latter hours of the game we can see her life heading in that direction rapidly. It is unusual that Rockstar opted to conclude every gang member's individual story in some capacity barring Karen, leaving us with Tilly's speculation as the only suggestion as to what might have happened to her. Now my thought process is this isn't a big thing, this isn't intended to be a big thing, and Tilly's speculation being given in such an assuming fashion means that the game likely wants us to think that this is what happened because it is. Even though they couldn't find a way to fit in evidence to prove it as far as we're aware, they left us with Tilly's letter as a means to address it and the lack of closure. Either to tell us that this is what certainly happened as far as we should care, or to emphasise the mystery behind one of the gang members having no confirmed closure whilst all the others did. So while part of me wants to pop on a tinfoil hat and go, this is the game wanting us to investigate, as in the end of the day Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game crammed with mysteries. For the most part I believe this segment of Tilly's letter regarding Karen's fate is more than likely bang on what happened. She died from the drink. We may not know where, when, or maybe even at that point why, but by the epilogue Karen Jones is probably dead. I do however believe this topic is eligible for some interpretation, so please do let me know what you think down in the comment section. I think this video was pointless. It's entertainment, fuck off. But I see no reason to drag this video to 10 minutes, as if I did that I'd just be repeating myself. In doing my research I also stumbled across a video titled Karen Jones is probably in Mexico. So I'm going to shoot you with my theory that if Karen Jones is not dead then she is on the moon.